us on tonight. Um, we haven't had Ricardo on for a while either. Ironically, ever since they embarrassed themselves in Leagues Cup, they haven't had a good start to the season, or restart to the season, and yeah, we're on a 4-1 defeat on Saturday. I couldn't believe it when I saw the score. I'm like, did that really happen? Like, what's going on? But everyone likes to talk shit. But hey, they've won the last two championships. Everything good. Comes to an end.
Yes, I saw a meme recently where it's like it's some dude wiping his tears, but he's holding the two cups, and it kind of puts things into perspective for that
Yeah,
fan base.
yeah. It's that meme of is it from Zombieland where he's wiping his tears with money, except this time he's wiping his tears with two titles. And you know, hey, look, we all know what happened to Atlas after they won a Campeonato. They went back to to Pluto. Like you haven't heard of Atlas since. So I understand that. I just don't understand. What I don't get is this is more or less the same team. I mean, they lost Quinones. I know they lost the center back, the Chilean, but they still have a great squad. You don't expect them to win every game, but you also don't expect them to lose 4-1.
Yeah, man. Cardina went from being candidate for the national team to no one's talking about him right now. Yeah, I wonder what's going on. I don't know if he's trying to switch up the team. I don't watch the Army games. Um, that's the thing about the league, though. If he's experimenting, if he's trying new things, that you could you could um you could finish in eighth and you still have a chance.
Yeah, well, right now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they're there. They
It's
are
like
in
three games, dude.
they are in 12th position.
That's how many points from eighth.
So they are in 12th with 6. Eighth position is 11.
Yes, two wins.
It's
Two
5 points.
back in the fight. Two. No, wait, some says. Wait, what do we? I
6 to
I
11
mean, we're listening to
is
Terrence Howard again.
it's five
No, I was
points. Yeah.
thinking. No, I was saying two wins would be
Oh
six
yeah, yeah,
points,
yeah,
and then you. Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, are you doing the Terrence Howard math? Um, yeah, dude. That's yeah. You catch a little streak, 2 3 wins in a row, and then you're back in. Um, so I don't really see them in trouble.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how much slack Jardine has because even though you win two championships, this is America, and the fans and the media have certain expectations of how the team should be performing. So, you know, losing 4-1 to Cruz Azul, you know,
Ouch.
I don't know if that's going to amplify things or, I'm sure Jardinez has plenty of slack, but you never know in this league. You never know. And if I'm not mistaken, their next game is against Chivas.
Oh, I was just thinking about that. And then, man, if you're Chivas, you couldn't hope for a better time to play Ame. It was like the timing is just perfect. Uh, Cruz Azul coming from Cruz Azul, Ame coming from a 4-1 defeat to Cruz Azul, and Chivas coming in from, what was it, 5? So
Yeah.
5-0? 5-0, man. Um, and that's been the thing with Chivas. Defensively, they've been pretty strong for a good like 4 years. They've been one of the top teams defensively. And I'm going by amount of goals scored. So at the end of the season, they've been one of the top teams. Uh, they just always struggle with goles. And now
Mm-hmm.
Gago seems to have found them. I don't know where he's looking. Now with Chicharo, he's, he's he, um, Find a
Yeah.
way to get the team scoring, man. That's and no refuerzos, dude. Did Chivas even bring a refuerzo? There wasn't some.
They bought a bunch of nobodies.
They're not even playing. That's just what they
Not
needed.
really, not really. Yeah, if you were tuning in on Saturday, number one, the Chivas game was early. It was at 4 in the afternoon, very early for Sábado. And if you missed the first half, I'm sorry, you missed the game because the first half had all the goals. We had a rare start for ¿cómo se llama? Hormiga Gonzalez. Scored within the minute. They hadn't even finished calling his name on the lineup. And starting for Chivas, goal! I was like, holy shit, that was fast. And he scored within the first 40 seconds of the match off a corner kick. That was actually a bad corner cross, but they took advantage of it. Nene Beltran with a golazo to make it 2-0. Then you had Piojo Alvarado with the PK. And then Alan Mozo coming off of a great moment for his career, getting a call-up from Javier Aguirre. Scored the fourth goal in stoppage time in the first half. It was a beautiful goal. I really like that goal. And, I tuned in too late. I caught the penalty. I caught Alan Mozo's goal. And then I thought there was going to be another 4 goals in the second half. And it was pretty underwhelming. Yael Padilla comes in, gets some scrap minutes, and he gets a goal. So the game ended 5-0, but Chivas were up with a man for the last 20 minutes of the game. Carlos Salcedo got a double red card in the 70th minute. So I really expected it to be piled on. I wanted to see, some records being broken. But in the end, everyone kind of chilled out in the second half. But nonetheless, 5-0 is quite a scoreline, and I'm very happy with the result.
So you're confident going in, Jaime? How do you see this match playing off?
So here's the problem. If this was literally like on Saturday, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I feel great. But again, Liga MX is having to pause for 2 friendlies. The first one on Saturday, Mexico versus New Zealand. And then on Tuesday, Mexico versus Canada. So it sucks because you come off of a 5-0 win and then you gotta stop. After you stop for a whole month, like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, that does, yeah. Damn. So, yeah, that momentum, it cuts into that momentum.
It does because, they did call up a few players from Chivas, or maybe just Mozo. I really don't know. But, you want to take this 5-0 and just, you want to play America tomorrow. You want to play America yesterday. You want it while it's still hot. But, momentum is everything. And I think America is going to take advantage of having this little break. Maybe they can rest. Maybe they're injured. Maybe they're banged up. So they're going to
lick the wounds. They're going to get that motivational speech.
They got 11 days to get their shit together, which is plenty of time for America. By then, people fucking forgot they lost 4-1. So it's a goldfish memory in Liga MX.
Yeah, man. But 2 clásicos back to back, pretty tough. So yeah, I hope Chivas can capitalize on this because that would be a huge boost.
Absolutely.
Kick a team when it's down, but it's America, so they have to curb stomp at this point.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like, Chivas fans are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we got Hormiga, we got Mozo, we got this and that." Look, it's Juarez, bro. At the end of the day, it's Juarez. They're, no disrespect to Juarez, but they're a team that, they've historically not been great. They're in second to dead last. They've lost 5 in a row. So this team is the team you expect to win 5-0,
Bro, Chivas can score 5-0 against no one, man. I'll take not like every other, you know what I mean? They rarely get past 3. I see Rams here. I want to see how he's feeling about his team. And about Jardine in general.
Yeah, yeah, I know Jardine. I'm sure, like I said, he's got some slack. But Ron, how'd you handle that 4-0, 4-1 defeat on Saturday?
It was tough.
Why you say tough?
I don't know. I'm not pushing the panic button just yet, you know. But yeah, it was tough because it's a game that they could have won easily had they capitalized. Because I mean, I think El Maestro Reynoso, was right in his assessment that in the first half, America controlled, just about 40 minutes of the match, and then those 5 minutes they just, they screwed it up. So it was a game that they should have won, but again, it just, poor. They they made a lot of, I would say, a lot of mental mistakes in how they were marking and playing. Um, but again, I wouldn't push the panic button just yet
Mm-hmm.
because
Mental
again, I mean,
mistakes, as in mentalidad de equipo chico run, or
no, I mean you can't really say that. I mean they won, obviously they're champs, beat Campeonatis, and stuff like that. But again, it's a if Cruz Azul would have just played like that the entire game and just dominated, I'd be worried. But I know that America still has it in them to basically impose their will, their style, and stuff like that. They just got to fine tune a couple things, and I mean really the only thing that I can see from this is that, I mean, there's certain players that I think that they should not be there anymore.
Ooh, throw him out.
Uh,
Let's hear him.
well, the Dutchman, he still doesn't convince me.
Yeah,
You know, he still has not convinced me.
but you still
He
need the token black guy. Like America always has one. You guys got rid of
he's not,
Quinones.
but
You
he's
got to
not.
replace him with another Morenito.
No, he's not the one. He's not the one. I mean, he doesn't convince me. He's like, in a way, he's like almost like Mickey Arroyo. I mean, it was like when he was on, but he wasn't on very often. And I just don't think he's been very consistent. Um, I think Nestor Araujo, he still hasn't convinced me with the team. I mean, I have high hopes for the guy because I mean, I do think he's a good defender. I just don't think he's been able to really play well with America.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I guess, well, I mean, we'll see it. I mean, it was sometimes you got to take sometimes you got to get your ass beat, to wake up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. But I will say this: the memes, sure made up for it. The fucking loss. the the tweet, the one that
Which
I
one?
cracked up the most was pues cada quien festeja lo que puede. So, implying that America celebrates titles and Cruz Azul celebrates league wins.
I look, Ron. If I was you, I'd be like, you can't even hurt my feelings, bro. We've won the last 2 titles in a row. Like, I'd be good for the next like 5 years with that. Fuck, 10 years, especially with Chivas, dude.
But no, I do worry because I do worry about it because, and I've seen this happen not just with Club America, but just in general, in terms of Liga MX. It's like, you know, let's say America plays average this plays a little average, this season. They make it to the Liga, but they're out the first quarterfinals. And then, the front office wants to revamp and wants to just change everything. And so
Yeah.
and that has happened. It happened, like, for example, with La Puente. It happened with Carrillo and stuff like that. And almost like, they lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it didn't matter that they were super leaders, they were defending champions or whatever the case may be. They lose, and the next thing you know, they want to start from scratch. That's what I'm concerned about. Because I mean, if anything, Jardine has, in my opinion, he has proved a lot of people wrong. He deserves the benefit of the doubt, and
Yeah.
even if there's a little downfall this season, like let's say quarterfinal elimination or semifinal elimination, you know what? Let's I say be patient because I mean from what I've seen so far, he has the team playing very well. And it
Mhm.
was to be expected. It was the summer break, different players from playing different national teams and stuff like that. I knew that it was. I knew that the team was going to come in. Maybe not with a full a preseason. Because of national team duties and stuff like that, and overplayed, overworked. I know that the team has had some injuries as well. Um, but speaking of injuries, that also concerns me. What's his name? The
Linchoski,
player gets hurt. No, the player gets hurt. What's his name? Chilean. Shit.
yeah, the defender, right?
No. The fuck. His name just. What? I should know this from heart. Anyhow,
Valdez.
he messed up his. Valdez, yeah, I think he had something with his shoulder. He injured his shoulder,
Oh.
and after he left, boom, the team just
Hmm.
played played differently. And obviously, he's a very key player for America and stuff like
Yep.
that. And that kind of
He's a
bothered
10.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's an amazing player. So that also caused me a little concern because the team shouldn't fall apart just because you lose one player. Even though he's a very important player, and I mean, I like the way he's able to handle the field, and the tempo and stuff like that. That kind of bothered me. That worries me, I should say.
We have Ruben Cartier on the YouTube comments. He says, America have lost 4 out of their last 6, and Ron still thinks it's not a crisis. And then he goes on to say, should Malagon still be the number 1 goalie for the national team after watching this game?
This goes back to my thing of people just jumping to pushing the panic button too quick. There's going to be ups and downs. I mean, that's part of the game.
Yeah, I agree. And look, Malagon, he got lucky that he injured himself out of Copa America because he would have been crucified in that, us getting out of the groups, not even getting out of the group stage. Malagon saved himself. But I think he'll still be the starting goalkeeper on Saturday against New Zealand, unless Javier Aguirre sees that Tala Rangel is the better choice because he's better at attacking the aerials, crosses, all that stuff. I think Tala has a better range than Malagon. That's just my opinion. And then also we have the new kid, the Espanol Mexican playing for Bilbao, Padilla. I don't know if he'll get any action, maybe against Canada. But right now, it's getting pretty competitive for that goalkeeping spot. And with the new coach, who knows who he'll... I don't know if Conejo Perez might come out of retirement for this one. Ruben Cartier keeps going. Malagon faked that injury at Copa America. Fans know that he was magically fit to go when the league started. Come on now. That's funny.
Uh, I think you will be the starting goalkeeper. Uh, Again, you, playing for America is difficult. Sometimes more so than even being on the national team, uh, because you're always criticized, whether what off and on the field, and that if you can handle that pressure, that's always a plus. Which goes back to or which the player for America, the young player that came in from Pachuca, who I hasn't convinced me he's a talented player, but
Oh, ¿cómo se llama? Chiquito?
yeah, and Chiquito and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't think he's done very well with on the team just yet. And I hope I because I used to hear this all the time. How you had a young player from X team, just killing it, and then they go to America, and then they just shit the bed, and they
Happens
always used to
all
say
the
that.
fucking time, man.
They would always used to say that America would ruin careers, and I mean that to me was just a bunch of bullshit because
Dude, between
if you can
Chivas and America, yes, we have, dude.
no, but the thing, no. If you can go to a big team, if you go from a small team to a big team, and you're able to handle the pressure, shit, dude. I
Like,
mean, like for example,
dude,
I'll
Voso,
give you a
I
perfect.
remember Voso, man. He was great at Santos, went to America, didn't do shit.
I
Then,
know, but on the flip side, you had Cabañas. Cabañas, yeah, he was great in
oh,
fucking Jaguares and
that
stuff like
guy
that,
was destined
and
for
then
greatness
Bro,
anywhere.
you're using Cabañas as an example.
no,
He's
but
up there, the greatest
no, what
delanteros.
I'm saying is you can. I mean, you can play in a small market, right, and kill it, and the fans love you, the reporters love you, and all that stuff. But then you go to a team like America, you go to a team like Cruz Azul, where you have a lot more press and a lot more just negativity around you. That affects you, and that's not me saying that. That's many players that have
Of
said this. That
course.
when you go to a team like that, and it's like they're constantly just on you, and that can affect the performance. The performance. And I hope that that's not the case with the player for America that came from Pachuca. I forget what they call him his nickname, but you know,
Chiquito.
I just thought I'd mention that as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at this lineup, and what happens if you don't have Henry Martin? Who the fuck is gonna step up? Who's your strikers at? You guys usually used to always have like, some bomba striker. Like, yeah, I don't see that
He,
anymore.
but if and what's his name? They said it during the telecast. I mean, Henry Martin didn't even receive one ball, I think, in the second half, or like a one or two. But if they're not feeding him the ball, what can he do? Nothing. So I mean,
Mm,
they fell apart. I mean, there's no denying that they fell apart. Uh, but but uh, but it's not just all Henry Martin. It's just the team. The team basically just fell apart, and hopefully they get their act together because again, I mean, if they could if they played the way they did for the first 40 minutes, shit. I mean, I'm not saying that they would have. I'm not saying that they would have, wiped the floor. But I mean, they should have come out with that game with at least a point. But I mean,
yeah.
they fell defensively, and there's certain players, like I said, that I don't think need to be playing again. Like the Dutchman, like I said, he hasn't convinced me. I
Yeah.
think last year, I think he only had one game that I thought was okay. The rest, eh.
Yeah, I really don't know much about the Flying Dutchman, but all I know is America's running out of money. You guys lost the Chivas exclusive rights in Mexico. They went to Amazon Prime,
Okay.
and Televisa doesn't have that Riz anymore, man. They're losing control. You guys don't even have a stadium right now.
Who's the Flying Dutchman? Is that some player they got from?
I forget how to pronounce his name, but yeah.
More like the. So wait, he's been a non-factor, Ron.
In my opinion, yes. I mean,
Javeiro de
yeah,
Rusan.
Jaredo. I mean, he's a talented. I mean, he has talent. I mean, I'm not denying that. But in terms of him uh, playing well with the team, and I just don't think he's been very consistent.
So more like a touch oven, Ron.
You
Touch
know,
oven. Wow. Yeah, I think Eric Sanchez's career went to shit by going to America. He was doing great at Pachuca. He probably could have pushed for a move to Europe, but in the end, he decided to cash out, and now the team's a little too demanding for him. I don't think he's gonna have the same success that he did at Pachuca.
you saying he's a mental midget?
Yeah, yeah, he's got a ceiling, man.
Not everybody can handle the pressure, man.
Yeah.
Not everyone
Ron,
can.
I mean, dude,
Ron,
how many players have gone to Chivas and you've seen their careers go to shit? I mean, all of them, almost all
Just
of them.
about everything.
even
Just about
Chicho.
every single one.
No, I mean like players that actually like that weren't from the academy, that weren't brought. They actually we bought them, and like they didn't pan out. We've had so many of those.
Juegan con el balón cuadrado.
Ron, how do you see the Super Clásico playing off?
The Super Clásico?
It's been a long time since the tables have been turned.
It's the next game
for
you guys.
It's usually the other way around. It's usually America coming in all yoked up to Chivas, all like, and now it's America coming from. How many defeats is it now? Huh? Around like 5.
I think America's going to take it. I know that Chivas is feeling well. I mean, they just banged the Gordiwapa, and stuff like that. But
yes,
they're still not. They
how much needed slumber.
They need more practice. They need to go pound some more Gordiwapas before they can compete.
The thing about the thing about the game that gets me nervous is this. Because they're gonna pull that out when things get right. They'll pull it out.
Where's that arbitro at though, man? I think it got removed.
Doesn't matter how well Chivas are doing, America can always get a get out of jail free card with that.
That's gonna be that. Remember, there was that that information that was leaked a few days ago about Chivas wasn't supposed to announce their deal with Amazon.
Do you believe that?
Because there was I don't even know, man. I mean, I've seen Chivas do dumb stuff like that, where they forget their shit like on the contract. So with Bimbo, they almost got sued for like it was like going to be like $4 million.
Damn, for what?
With their because they went to streaming, and the contract with Bimbo was for TV rights.
Oh.
Or because they have the sponsor, and it's like
I see.
At that point, it's like Chivas was being seen by about 11 million people in Mexico because they were on free TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then they moved to streaming, and it's nowhere near that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they ended up like negotiating something, but Chivas still been hurting from that. Because think about it, 11 million people seeing you, like how much you could sell that space compared to when they were like in 5 different televisoras.
Yeah.
You weren't getting that number. It was all chopped up.
Yeah. So for those that are listening, don't know, or unfamiliar, the story with Chivas and Amazon Prime is the deal had been done. And for some weird reason, they decided to announce it 6 fixtures into the regular season. And I don't know if by doing that, or maybe it leaking, or maybe, getting ahead of, or even just negotiating or having conversations with another company for TV rights, breached their contract with Televisa, and Televisa either is fining them or suing them or penalizing them for doing that, because I guess in the law, in the bylaws or the contract, they're not allowed to be like having conversations with another broadcasting company until their contract with Televisa is finished. So that was the rumor that was coming up in anticipation of Chivas announcing their partnership with Amazon Prime. And I'm jealous because I would love to see that broadcast. I can't even do it with the VPN here in the States. I don't know how to do it, but I'm very excited for this partnership. And Amaury can no longer say that we don't have money, because bro, what the fuck, dude? We have Amazon Prime now. Like,
yeah, but how much was that contract for? I mean, 20 million.
Has to be more than whatever Televisa was offering.
Yeah, but even 20 million, when we look at it, that's not a lot.
All I know is he can't use that excuse like, oh, we don't have any money, you guys got to buy jerseys. Like, they've had great attendance.
Yeah, it has been going up, but then it's like, did they lower like sometimes they lower the cost. They'll be like, they'll sell like the family pack, 5 seats, 5 hot dogs, three Maruchans, a calendar, a giant soda. You know what I mean? So to get the people in, or two for one, and you get tickets for the next match. And they do a lot of that stuff.
I don't know about that,
Um,
Chief.
yeah, you do. You could see it sometimes. You could go to the Chiva. What is it? Chiva de Corazon page. I forget which one. You can see the deals for tickets.
I haven't seen like promos like that for a while, but I I think that it's an exciting partnership. Obviously, this is not the first time Amazon and Chivas have worked together. They had that whole all or nothing series, and they had some rare footage of the late Jorge Vergara before he passed away. You know, basically ripped them all a new asshole when they got
Uh,
eliminated from Copa MX.
I think it sounds cool, like being an Amazon, but for me, Chivas has to be an open, free TV, like the regular canal over there in Canal Siete or Canal. I don't know what channel in Max, but the channel everyone gets, even the dude, their antenna is like a coat hanger
Yeah,
and a tire rim, and those fuckers could get the signal. Because that's basically like if you're the people's team, then yeah, you want that Morro Prieto out in the fucking boondocks, being able to see Chivas. Not you need internet,
bro.
you need
I
fiber, you need. You,
I don't know. Oh, you cut out there, Joel. I don't know. Sometimes Twitter Spaces acts up. Give me a second. What I will say is sometimes the people out of Mako have better phones than me, bro. Don't, dude.
yeah,
I have cousins that are hella spoiled. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, it's not as like they're not as like rural as you think they are, dude.
no, a lot of parts. I mean, we go. Most of us will go to like the city, but there's a lot of parts in Mex still that are like way out there. You know,
Yeah, I
not
have
just the Pueblo Mágico in the city, but
my where my parents were are from is super rural. Like there's one store, like a little tiendita that has like a big ass antenna, and that's the only place where you get that's the only place where you get
yeah,
reception, bro. No reception anywhere else. So like
yeah.
even those places, people be on their phones streaming and shit. So you know, if Chivas are playing, they will find a way. They will find a way to watch the game.
Once you get Starlink, no, but I think Meg's still a bit far off from that, but I do think eventually it will get to that point where even in those far off places, there's gonna be, access to internet. I do think it's headed, but I don't think it's quite there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, the Chivas aren't the only ones that gave the fuck you to Televisa. You also have Tigres now on Fox Deportes. So, like I said, you know, I think Televisa is losing their grip, losing their power of influence with the clubs.
Oh yeah, it's been a while now because like at one point it was basically half the teams and then the other half they were Azteca, and now it's spread all over, which is why eventually,
And you,
um,
and have you noticed? And have you noticed the decline of Mexican football?
What
I
It's
do, but I
what
see that more to do with league than
no, all
showing the games.
across the board, across the board. You know, all you fuckers thought you guys were gonna get cute. Oh, you know what? We're gonna fucking leave TV Azteca. We're gonna leave Televisa, and now look at us.
But
We're in the shitter.
here
We're in the fucking shitter.
you want the old regime. No,
What's
dude,
that?
it's gonna change again. It's gonna change again because there's obviously not that much money being made, or won't be able to be made compared to when they do get that massive contract like who you see in Spain and in the EPL, and eventually that it's gonna go to that eventually.
I just don't know what
Yep.
happened though, because you have Rayados and Tigres. They're the ones that buy everybody. Like
You know,
Antuna went
we
Yes, but
to
you're saying it
we
Tigres.
wrong,
had
Jaime.
we
Jaime,
had
you're saying it
what you
wrong.
got to basically make the Godfather reference. You had in La Carrega, you had fucking Vito, you had you
Oh,
had Vito
oh,
Corleone. Hey, there was it was peace. Everybody was making money.
peace to five
Okay,
families.
uh, and stuff like that.
Oh, Ron, no. Jaime, Jaime, it's not Tigres Monterrey, dude. It's
I'm telling you,
FEMSA, and Cemex. Once those guys leave their partnership, those teams are gonna like deflate.
la pinche indiada no respeta. Okay,
All I know is
Yeah,
like as an America fan, I would be furious because like you're no longer rumored when it comes to a player like that's doing really well in Mexico or in Europe.
oh, it's been a long
You
ass
used
time since
to
that. What
you
was the
used
last
to
thing?
lick your lips and
Yeah,
be like, "Oh, it's time for them to go to America." Everybody in the league thought that that would be like the natural progression of
but dude, even
like
Ronaldinho went to
Gignac.
Querétaro.
Gignac should have been in America a player. Like and like
Yeah,
you don't have that anymore. It's like wow,
they
dude.
used to have Bam Bam Zamorano, Piojo Lopez, caliber. I think that's around the last time you saw that. Um,
you're not going to see that anymore.
who
You're
knows?
not.
Who knows, Ron? Who knows?
No, you're not going to see that. The league has changed a lot. Um, I mean, honestly, I think the only way that Liga MX is going to be able to attract, you know, not those players that like those like major prospects, the ones that obviously they're going to go to Europe and stuff like that, but the other ones that are not quite ready to go to a big club in Europe, but they have the talent to. I mean, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to go into that conversation today, but they would come to Mexico because we were playing, Copa Libertadores. And unfortunately, what do we have? Just, League's Cup. Come on. We have I mean let's be honest. I mean the MLS is going to attract those they're going to attract better players because obviously the quality of life in the US and stuff like that and stuff like that. But I mean if Mexico doesn't have something else to show for, like I mean I say Liga MX to show for, it's going to be tough. It really is. The league.
I think people still like I think Liga MX is still prestigious and America is too.
No, well, I mean that's hard to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this because obviously I'm an Americanista and stuff like that. But right now, I don't see the league. I don't see the league as being very prestigious right now because we don't have a gauge. We can't. We
You
can't.
have
What was
you have
that
Ame winning back-to-back titles,
Joel?
and you say the league's not prestigious.
Joel,
It
what was
is.
that video of it was a video of what was it? Somebody from Uruguay or Argentina, and they found out they were going to Santos. Remember? Remember that video? And the guy, like their whole family started like crying. They were so happy. Like
Oh shit!
Santos Laguna, bro.
Damn, dude. Yeah, you're. I think I was watching the previous one that he went from making like 10,000 to like 100,000.
Because people in South America, they know if you get to Liga MX, bro, you're making billetes.
Yeah, those dudes
Yeah.
bring their whole family. I mean, they do bring the neighbors too, and the fucking dog. They it's a group
And
effort.
where
What they do,
you
they
know,
do that, man.
Joel brings. Ron brings up MLS. Like yes, MLS is going to. Obviously, we're going to go toe to toe with MLS in terms of buying talent from South America. But Liga MX still buys more obscure, big lots, bargain bin players from South America, and they might not
Puma.
be big names or they might be, travelers. But I think Liga MX still gets a lot of, again, like excitement and buzz and prestige coming from South America.
Yeah, no, I think that's part of the whole. But I think the competition is coming from everywhere because now you're seeing the Middle East, and they even been taking players from Liga MX.
Who?
So I do think
But
the
I
Middle
mean,
East, the Middle East.
China was doing that 15 years ago because they were
Yeah.
investing fucking shitload. But that's kind of calmed down in the sense. Look, I don't blame these players for going, like to China or to the Middle East and collect a payday. I get it, but in terms of Liga MX and what Liga MX is going to be able to attract, I don't think they're going to be able to attract that star, and that's not and that's not really a bad thing either, because yeah, he's a star, he's an established player and stuff like that. But I wouldn't mind going for that 19, 20-year old, from Uruguay, from Colombia, from Argentina, or whatever. That's and he's about to fucking make it big. I wouldn't mind a team full of those. You know, I
Well,
think
MLS is
we've
doing that
seen.
too now. They're going after those younger players as well.
No, I
LAFC
get
had
that.
had some 19-year-old Uruguayo, uh,
Yeah,
you
but
know. So
the thing with MLS is that they still have that. They still haven't opened their checkbooks, and they still have that designated player or whatever it is, where the Liga MX, can open their checkbooks. Um, the day MLS basically opens up their checkbooks, that's gonna hurt a little Liga MX. But again, right now, just the product in general in Mexico, be it the national team and be the league, I,
you,
I think it's a notch below from what we were maybe 10 years ago.
you know what? But I think with DMX, and I thought this for a longest time, especially since Mex would play Libertadores, because I see how well Chivas would do, and against all teams, even Brazilian and Argentinian teams, and and I feel like Liga MX doesn't need to depend on foreigners. I'm not saying don't bring any, but they don't have to depend on them to that extent of you need eight. Like you're
No,
good with three. And
no,
I think it should that should be like their focus of like promoting and developing more of their talent. Because we've seen it in all these clubs. We've seen what's happened with the players. Uh, but we always see it like, oh, it's Atlas, and then it's like, oh, it's Pumas, and then it's you know what I mean. It's always someone's turn at bat. But we should have 4 or 5 fucking teams cranking out players like that at the same time. But I do feel it that's the focus should be, and we're sort of seeing it right now with some of these young guys coming up. Finally, after a long ass time, you're seeing younger talent now doing good, and the media salivating over it.
no, you're right, and that's one of the things that's bothering me, because, like I said, I mean, in the 10 years to present, I think that just in general, both Liga MX, the national team, and basically the administration, right? I think all have been doing things horribly wrong, for the most part, and I think there's been a lot of mixed messages because, like you said, I mean, when you're starting to use, like, for example, on the national team, more naturalized players, and also increasing the limit of national team players. When you remove that presidential when they removed that presidential decree and stuff like that, and then they started using more naturalized players, that sends the wrong message. And there's mixed messages because you know why are you going to invest all this money in youth development if you're basically, at the end of the day, you're basically uh, screwing yourself over, by basically allowing more foreigners and to basically play on the national team and in the league. And I think that's one of the problems that we've seen in the league, and just in general. Um, and I guess until the league starts to decrease the national, or the amount of foreigners, not just in Liga MX, like the first division, but even in the lower divisions, I don't think that the youth development is going to improve anytime soon.
We have
I really like it.
waiting for Rifado to join us because I know he's got a lot to say about
Yes,
that. But go ahead, Joel.
he's really quick. Yeah, I really like how they do it in Argentina. Um, I think the limit's around 5 or 6 foreigners, but only 3 can play at the same time. So if you have your 3 foreigners are already playing, and you have another one in the bench, you can only sub him out for one of the. You have if you want to put the bench guy in, you have to sub out one of the other foreigners.
But but here's the thing with Argentina, and I mean they have elections. They're still clubs in the traditional sense, right?
Yeah,
And they have elections, and like I mean, Huracan had some, and I, I I forget which other clubs, but there was like 2 or 3 major elections this year that I was like kind of following on the Argentine press and stuff like that. And it's funny because like the people that are running to be president of each club. I mean, they basically make presentations and they have bullet points as to what they're going to improve. They're going to improve the finances, and the way they're going to improve the finances is by doing this, this, and this, and also like selling players, developing players, and stuff like that, and also obviously performing well in the league. Um, and the, I think that it's like in a way I'm envious that they still have the club format in a way, but also I'm also not. A lot of their clubs struggle financially because they don't have the financial backing of a major corporation. And I just wish that somehow Liga MX would be able to merge or use a hybrid of the club system and also the corporate system because of the
well,
finance.
you see, America just went into the stock market. Did you buy how many shares? How many Willa shares did you buy, Ron?
No comment.
How much stock do you
No
own?
comment. He
Look,
hasn't invested in his own
no,
club.
dude, you should have been owning already.
He spent
You
all
should
his
have
money
owned
on
already.
non-fungible
And,
tokens.
and OnlyFans, Dogecoin, and OnlyFans, and Jonathan Dos Santos OnlyFans.
No, short though. No, but I mean, I see how like, when they're running their presence, they're running and how they're
Oh,
going to improve.
you're kind
Like
of cutting out there, Ron. Sorry. It sounds
Yeah,
like
you're cutting a lot, dude.
can you
sounds
hear
like
me?
you're
One of
deep
one of
throating
my
a frog.
excuses of why she don't own. Jaime, tell me you wouldn't buy stock if Chivas didn't go into the.
Oh, I have Manchester United stock. I bought it on day one, dude.
Oh snap! Damn.
Yeah,
You,
I've been to Old
you get
Trafford.
like a
I am a
certificate?
owner of Manchester United. I'm not just some fucking no. Like I am a hardcore fan, dude. Unfortunately, we have
Did you
a bald
like a
fraud
thing
for
that says
coach.
that you have?
Huh?
Do you have like a paper or something that says like
I get my
you own?
I get my vote. I get my quarterly earnings reports. Yeah, it's great, man.
Damn.
They don't send
Is
me
there like a
anything.
membership thing or like a member thing?
They
I would
don't
just
send
frame
me
it.
like they don't send me anything, but I know if you sign up for because I know Manchester United has like yeah, they have like those like memberships you can pay for and but I don't do all that. I invest in the club.
I don't know if you guys remember this. A while back, they were selling like in I think it's Scotland or Ireland, and it was like, oh yeah, to be a lord, you just needed to own land, and you could buy like a foot of land,
Wow, that's
and
cool.
they would send you a thing like your title
That's
to be
dope.
like Lord Jaime. So I thought it was something like that,
It's
like.
like that's my patch of grass that they just fucked up.
I thought they would
I gotta go
give you
out
like a
there and
little
fix my
certificate.
lawn.
One foot, yeah, 10 feet of land somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably next to a
I
toxic waste dump.
I've been waiting patiently for Rifalo to hop on. I don't think we've had a chance for him to speak up, but
I've
we
been waiting for him too since he
we
knows the players.
we've had
What's
a
up, everyone?
hey man, welcome to the show.
we need
Thanks for
to say
having me.
something times.
Yeah, I'm like Beetlejuice, I guess. But what's it called? I just wanted to touch on what Ron was saying about how we should be emulating Argentina. And I'm going to have to disagree because it's the other way around right now. They're suspending relegation. They're trying to incorporate more corporate investment because they're all like bankrupt because of the economy and other factors as well. Like they overspend like from like the era of Perón, where like these things were incredibly like socialized and backed up by the city and the government. You know, they're like in debt and like they like oversee like sports that lose money, like I don't know, tennis and like
I'm I'm not
swimming.
I'm not advocating for a full club model
Uh-huh.
because precisely for that reason, because obviously most of their clubs struggle financially. But
And also they're a selling club. They're like a selling league. Like they feed Europe, and whereas we retain our talent, you know, we have our own isolated market that no one really deigns to mess with because they're outpriced a lot of the
no,
time. So
no, you're
I don't think we should be emulating them because our circumstance is completely unique in comparison to them.
no. But what I'm trying to get to is that you have a lot of the clubs in Mexico. Many times, the people that control, or at least you have basically like the corporations, whether it's FEMSA, whether it's Cemex, whether it's Televisa, or whatever, they tend to put people sometimes that have nothing to do with football. Okay, and and you should and you see it. I mean, you see it how they run the club. They're they're I mean they're just worthless. They have no, like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example. When America put what's his name, that president, he was a great salesman, but he had nothing to do with football. What's his name, Bauer? Remember him?
Oh,
When
how could I
oh,
not? You finished last
yeah,
place with Bauer.
he was I mean, he apparently had this. I mean, he was with Televisa for years. I mean, he was like one of the best fucking executives there for the corporation and stuff like that. But when he was with America, the front office, he was a disaster. So the thing about it is, one of the
Last
things
place.
where I'm getting to is that many times, what do you call it, the people that they put in front of the football operations are clueless. They're great businessmen and stuff like that. There's no denying that, but it's the team suffers. And why the reason I'm using Argentina is because, like, for example, if you keep up with some of their elections, whether it's Banfield, Huracan, or whatever, it's like you have 3-4 people, and they're basically, they're doing presentations, they're candidates, and they're saying, hey, uh, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, and some of them bring out receipts. Hey, this guy's should no longer be should no longer be in the operation because they ran the finances to the fucking ground, or they did this, they did that, they whatever. And it's like they basically, it's let the best man win, who has the best, or who has the best vision, and stuff like that. So it's like, I wish there was a way to do the hybrid of basically what Liga MX does with the corporation having that corporate backing, but having that open, I guess, elections, if you will, of
But
who the front
that
office is going to.
wasn't that supposed to be Cruz Azul? And then the Billy's, the Alvarez has just sort of hijacked everything.
Well, Cruz Azul, remember, they're a co-op, so they run their club a little different. Um,
So,
Atlas was the last club before they went to Grupo Orlegui, right?
In Chivas
Uh,
before Atlas,
yeah, I mean, technically,
before Vergara.
Cruz Azul technically uh, is not a what is it? Pumas and Cruz Azul they're not clubs per se, but they're not for-profit organizations because the way their legal structure is set up, right? But by no means are they a club anymore.
So just to push back on the whole Argentina model, the thing is like the socio model, the club model that you're speaking of, is a dying breed, and the reason why is because they can't keep their head above water. Like the money has gotten so ridiculous in the world of football that the only way for a club to stay afloat is to have corporate sponsorship. And so I agree. We do need to find that balance. It can't just be all money and dollar signs. But the whole idea of like emulating Argentina, it's just not going to happen anymore. If anything, in the next years, we're going to see less of that.
So
as more clubs.
Spain did something similar with what's called the SAD, the Sociedad Anónima Deportiva. So it was kind of a hybrid of the club with having a corporate, like an S corporation, right? I mean, that's something that, I mean, if Mexico did that, it would just be a name only. But like I said, I don't see a way out, or I don't see any future right now for how the league is set up. So I mean, like I said, that's why I'm kind of like, I mean, after all, like even if Argentina were to do away with the club system and just go strictly with the corporate system, or even the franchise system, like the U.S. franchise model, like how basically Liga MX is starting to become, I still think that they would develop the players regardless, because it's just so ingrained in their culture, right? But like I said, one of the things that I think we've all been complaining, in the past couple of years, is just how inept the people in the front offices have been, both in Liga MX and clubs and in the federation. I mean, we've just had nothing but incompetent people running the clubs and the federation. So I mean, like I said, other than having something similar to what Argentina does, where people run elections and they present their like what their goals are going to be and stuff. I mean, I don't know what else to do, or what they could do.
You know who runs that model and is running it into the ground? Barcelona. And I'm a culé. I've always loved Barcelona, but that whole socio model, it doesn't work in today's corporate world, and it's riddled with corruption. Like there's so much money like that's lost, and then people just vie for these positions for the power and the money that comes with it. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of future in it. I actually think Barcelona is going to move away from it in the next 10, 20 years. And I also see a lot of Argentinian clubs moving away from it, especially right now with their awful economy. But you touched upon the dearth of Mexican youth. And I wanted to touch upon that as well, because over this past weekend, we had 9 goal scorers under the age of 23 years old.
Let's go.
Yes. And it wasn't just
that's what I came here for.
It wasn't just like a handful of clubs. It was spread out. You had there was a great game between Santos and Necaxa.
Yeah.
And that game had 4 players that I want to touch on. You had Jordan Carrillo, who we've all had on a pedestal for a while, with an assist, and he assisted Santi Munoz for a beautiful goal. And Santi Munoz is the Newcastle reject.
Yeah.
And he's finally coming good at Santos with that goal. And then we had the 18-year-old Pajiel Jimenez score a late winner for Santos. Yeah, and he's 18 years old from the Cantera. He's looking great. And then for Necaxa, you had a kid by the name of Rogelio Cortez Pineda. He's 20 years old. He scored the second goal for Necaxa in the 65th minute. And then we've got other guys. We've got Osiel Herrera with a doblete, against Monterrey. And then I know, we got Hormiga with a goal in the first minute for Chivas. And then Yael Padilla in the 90th plus 2 minutes of extra time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's 19 years old. Hormiga's 21. You add to that the fact that they have Rangel, who's a young goalkeeper. and you see other players like Gil Mora, 15 years old, scoring in the 65th minute for Tijuana, youngest ever goal scorer. I think that's been contested a little bit. Someone brought up some like guy from the 1920s who was like,
Yeah, I think that was fake. Was it fake or was it debunked?
I don't know.
I think
I don't
that's
know.
proven.
But,
I think that's proven. I think he ended up being 18.
Oh, he ended up being 18. Yeah,
He
I
lied
wanted to
about
see
his
the birth
age.
certificate. I see.
Dude,
And so,
Cachirules.
you have to dig through how much hate did you see the Chappelle show with the player haters?
Yeah, of
And they
course.
had the time traveling haters.
oh yeah, the Chipotle.
Some dude went to 1920 to try. That's too much. Dude.
That's the type of shit Ron would do, though.
Shit, man.
Ron would be the
What the?
Ron would be like the actually there's a guy in the 1920s.
Did you see Ricardo Salazar? He got called out on that.
He was the dude that was trying to.
I know he was no. He was the one that said that player from and he even I forget. No, yeah, he was the one. Ricardo Salazar, former, or I don't know if he's still with Televisa, but Tato Salazar. He basically posted a picture from he got the book from a Libro de Oro, right? That this player basically was the youngest player to score, but then he got called out by the guy's Twitter name Joeli.
Yeah,
You
which
know,
I thought it was Arjoel, but it wasn't.
No, yeah, I know. I was proud.
There could only be one. You got to fight to the death, Joel.
So then he fucking calls him out saying, "Nah, this is this and this and this. His death certificate was from this, so he would have been 16 or whatever the case, right?" But then one of the comments was the comment was so you know how the Dato Salazar, I think he thinks he's like a German.
Yeah.
So someone called him out.
He's a fan of the German team.
Yeah. But anyhow, long story short, yeah.
I was watching that the Santos game with my dad. My dad's like, "Is there any other like games on?" I was like, "Yeah, there's this bullshit ass match to end the jornada." Fucking Necaxa up 2-0 with like, I don't know, there was probably like 30 minutes left. I'm like, we'll see how this pans out, And fuck, dude, it turned into a great game. They fucking scored. Fucking Franco scored in the 75th. Golazo, man. I'm like, okay, 2-1. And then it just kept getting better and better and younger. Santi scored. And then Tahil, he came in and they were talking about it. He was 18 years old. And then boom, bro, 3-2. Must be tough to be an Necaxa fan right now. And I found out,
Buffalo Bills commercial.
Dude, I found out that was their Santos' first victory since March.
Yeah, they've been on the downward spiral. It's so crazy, man. Like I'm watching their games. I'm sure you saw it. Like they separate into two blocks, right? Where it's like the defensive block and the offensive block, and the disconnect between the two is like night and day, like 10 yards, man. And so like they would lose possession, and Necaxa would be like 4-on-4, 5-on-4, outnumbering Santos. And I'm like, what the fuck is what's his fucking name? Nacho Ambriz doing? Like, this is like tactical ineptitude. And like what they did, they sold Cervantes to fucking America, and they didn't bring anyone to replace him. And like it's like last time I said they had this gaping hole in midfield, and this time and this thought I'm going to say it again. So like obviously Santos has deficiencies, and Ambriz has a lot of work to do. But they got a lot of kids, man, and hopefully they can. This is the step in the right direction, because before now they were utter shit. And I'm hoping that they pull through, because I'm a big Ambriz fan since his León days. But I was gonna name some other guys. There was Toluca. There's a kid named Violante, 20 years old, scored a goal in the 87th minute. And then in that game, Gallardo, we were talking about the Mozo goal. Gallardo scored a mirror of that goal.
And against his former club, which,
Yep.
just that little extra.
And then Pachuca, they got this guy named Sergio Aguyo Castillo. He is 21 years old, scored the goal in the 97th minute. And then, my boy, I mentioned him last time, is 18-year-old Elias Montiel. He's an 18-year-old midfield starter for that team. And then they got another 18-year-old named Gael Alvarez, who was subbed in and looked pretty dangerous. So, like, I
Yeah.
hope jovenazos, dude,
Yeah.
para hacer un caldo. Like, there's a lot of them. And I don't think all of them are going to pan out. None of
Yeah.
them, like, it's never just like that. But I think, like,
It was just a good week for them, for sure.
Well, for them to be playing, for them to be playing says a lot, especially in a league like Liga MX, where they, notoriously bad in giving youth any playing time.
Yeah, and so when's the last time we had like such a like plethora of young kids getting down in the Liga MX? Like I can't remember it.
Yeah,
and so like. And so it's not just one team. Like I think I named 10 teams.
Yeah, it's all over the place, which you love to see, right? Because it's always been like the Pachucas of the world, the Chivas of the world having to lead the league in like minutes for youth. But it's nice to see it all over the place.
And we're doing it with the extranjeros here, without a limitation, without limiting the extranjero. So like it's possible without limiting this luxury good that we're importing, which is South American talent, European talent, African talent. Like we are still
Dutch
we can
talent.
still be we can still be that destination.
I would rather have 3 more of those youth than 3 more of the other foreigners.
Of course, because we're biased.
Because those foreigners coming in, they're not all that. Like to me, if you're coming in, you have to be like at another level.
Yeah.
You're not just
like
coming in and you're
the Dutch guy. For example,
the
the Dutch guy, he came from Feyenoord, and like I looked at his career, not impressive at all. He's already like over the hill. He's like 26. And
I thought he was good. His problem is that he got injured during the Leagues Cup, and he's not back to full fitness. Everyone's exaggerating the fall of Club America, but it's so early in the season. And someone else was hating on Malagon, but I watched the game, and I wouldn't pin any of those 4 goals on Malagon. His defense let him down. And after a year of straight triumph in the doblete, what's it called? Igor Lichnowsky is out. Araujo has never been good for America. Fidalgo, he's not running on all 4. Valdez isn't hitting the same form that he had last year. He's got those niggling muscle injuries. And then, they're playing Chiquitom on the right. Now that Valdez was injured, they're playing him as the center attacking midfielder.
Yeah, he's just out of position.
But they've been playing him out of position. Zendeja's been out. He's technically back, but they're not playing. They're easing him back into the team. Mm-hmm. And then I remember you guys asked for a replacement for who's the replacement for Martin, and it's I think it's Aguirre, this Uruguayan attacker who's got like 2 goals in 4 games. He's pretty good. It hasn't worked out for America, but like every team goes through these lulls. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't count them out just yet. It's early in the season. They've had a lot of injuries, a lot of players playing other competitions. They're still very good. And right now the sensationalized reporting is painting them off like Jardín should be fired.
Yeah.
Tendiéndole la cama, blah blah blah. And I just don't see it. I think he's got this whole tournament to burn before we even start really talking about that. Or
unless he gets really embarrassed by Chivas, like a 5-6-0, that will put him on the hot seat. Real quick, before we go any further, I want to call out Pichichi. He always hops on our podcast. He never has the balls to hop on and use his voice. He's always on the keyboard talking shit in the group chat. But I specifically remember when Necaxa were up 2-0 and he was talking mad shit about Nacho Ambriz. He's like, he's a fucking bum, pinche indio. He ends up winning that game 3-2 with the youth. So you can suck it, Pichichi.
A todos tienes pendejo, menos a Jaime Pinto, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, but some good analysis by El Rifal. I was looking forward to that. You know, a lot of young players.
You see
That
you see what Rifado said about America, but if I said, oh,
Yo, I'm a Chivas fan, so I'm always be rooting for Chivas, but I try to provide an objective analysis. And my prediction for this upcoming bout is going to be a 2-2 draw.
oh,
So hopefully El Rebaño comes through. That's what I'm rooting for. But
yeah.
if I had to put money on it, it's going to be a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, it's so far away. You know, we're barely on the second of the month or third, but the game's not till the 14th. So we're gonna have to sit tight and watch Aguirre's selección kick off on Saturday. And some surprising names that he called up. Are you guys pretty happy with the players that he picked?
Yeah, it's no big difference to me. To me, it's just his first call up. I think he's gonna end up calling up other players that some people might not like. Choa, maybe.
Ochoa don't have a team,
What's
dog.
that dude's name? Herrera. Yes, he does. He signed for Portuguese
Did he really?
Portuguese
'Cause
club.
I want to know who he
He
signed
just
for.
he signed. It's a first division team. I think they were just promoted. But he has a club now, so supposedly that was the one thing holding him back. Just
So
get some PT.
goalies: Luis Malagón, América; Raúl Rangel, Chivas; Alex Padilla, Athletic de Bilbao. They actually even shared a snippet from him. He said he's Mexican and he didn't expect this call up. And somebody replied in the chat with like him wearing a Chivas jersey and him dressed up like a
Charro.
like a charro. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this guy is actually like, he's not like Wale. Like Wale, who the fuck? He didn't even know he was Mexican. He's like, I'm Mexican.
Hey,
Like,
what's Padilla's story though? Because his accent is very Spanish.
I don't know the story, man. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
So his mother is Mexican. His father is Spaniard. He said he grew up.
Oh.
He grew up in the first 8 years of his life in Mexico, and then he moved back to Spain. And obviously, like when you're at like 8 to like 20, you're gonna pick up the accent, right, because of the school and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's obviously a niño de mami, and she had a big influence on him, and he grew up feeling very Mexican.
That's
always,
awesome.
in spite of growing up in Vizcaya.
That's
that
really
happens
cool.
a lot with the kids. I feel. I think they're always more attached to what the mom is.
Defenders: Julian Araujo playing for Bournemouth, Israel Reyes from America, Alan Mozo from Chivas. This is his first call up since the pre-Olympic tournament in Guadalajara. That was in 2021, I think. So it's been a long time coming. Cesar Montes, Almeria; Johan Vasquez, Genoa; Victor Guzman, Monterrey; Jesus Angulo, Tigres; Jesus Gallardo, Toluca. In the midfield, Luis Romo. He plays for Cruz Azul. Fidel Ambriz, who is now officially Rayado. He plays for Monterrey now. Eric Lira from Cruz Azul. Charlie Rodriguez, also from Cruz Azul. Luis Chavez playing in Dinamo Moscow. Sebastián Córdoba at Tigres. And Orbelín Pineda from Athens over there in Greece. And then as far as the strikers, you have Diego Lainez from Tigres, Julián Quiñones playing in Saudi Arabia, Piojo Alvarado, Chivas, Marcelo Flores, Tigres, Cesar Huerta, Pumas, Guillermo Martínez, Pumas, Santi Jiménez, Feyenoord, and unfortunately, the return of Henry Martin to the national team. Yeah, there's a couple on here. I'm like, really? For me, like, has Memo Martinez done anything? Like, I know he's a big dude. I'm not convinced by him. Henry Martin coming back, really? And of course, I'm always going to talk shit about Charlie Rodriguez.
in Charlie and Romo's defense, they both got assists for Cruz Azul. They're both pivotal players for the super leader of the team of the league right now. So I'm not a Charlie fan by any means, but why are they playing? Well, they're doing good for the best team in Mexico right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad to see Fidel Ambris getting a call up. I personally thought he should have went to Copa America instead of going to that whatever tournament they were doing for the young players. I will say I'm very upset that we lost out on him. Chivas had inquired about Fidel Ambris, and Leon, I think they said like 7 million or 10 million. And Chivas said kick rocks. And then Monterrey ends up getting him for like 7 million. So, yeah, you hate to see it. And as far as defense goes, why are we still calling up Gallardo? Is there no one else?
Yeah, I didn't see Arteaga's name in the call-up. I'm surprised he wasn't called up and Gallardo was, but Gallardo is heating up. He's got that badass goal. I'm not sure who else. I think there's like a guy in Pachuca that was called up before, Brian Gonzalez, I believe, but he's nowhere to be found. And Pachuca hasn't been performing well this season either. But these are the only three players I can think of that fill that left back position. So I feel like that is actually our weakest spot as far as depth and quality. So why is Gallardo being called up? He's the best we got right now.
For now. For now. I do think Arteaga should have been called up. Also, no Chucky Lozano.
He's the leading goal scorer in the league in Holland right now, and he should have definitely been called up. Also, he's doing it off the bench, and basically they're planning life without him, right? So like he should have definitely gotten called up because he's not getting all the minutes. He's not like a pivotal part of PSV right now. So I don't understand why they didn't call him up. I also don't understand why Memo, the Pumas forward got called up instead of Berterame, who just became available to us.
I'm sure Aguirre is gonna wait to pull that one. I think if he would have done it right from the get-go, they would have been like, here we fucking go again. But I think Bertrame will eventually get called up. There's no doubt in my mind.
And back to the goalkeepers thing, I was watching Picante, and they're saying that the rumor around the campfire is that Rangel is going to be starting over Malagon.
Damn right. I said it earlier. He's better in the air, bro. And New Zealand, they're tall fuckers.
Yeah. I think that'll help. But they were wrong about the Raul call up, so they're not infallible. But Huerta and Alvaro Morales were talking about this on the latest episode of Picante. So I'm curious to see if Rangel gets the call up because, as Alvaro Morales pointed out, he was massacred by Uruguay on his first and last showing for El Tri. So I'm here for his redemption arc, and I hope it happens.
Yeah, they fucking threw him out to the Lions against Uruguay. And I thought, oh shit, that's it, one and done. He's never gonna get another chance. But Aguirre has called him up. I also wanted to know, from your guys' perspective, how much of an influence is Rafa Marquez? Is he whispering these things into Aguirre's ear, or is he just, the bitch boy? Like, how much influence does Rafa have on the call-ups?
I'm just going off of how Aguirre said he works. He was like in a podcast, like in an interview, and he was talking about how he had his assistants, like they all made a list for the call-ups, and then they would all see which players were like, a lot of them had similar players, so which ones were different, and then they would like try to like pick from all the lists, and then he would have them like plead their case for certain players. So I could see him doing some of that. I think Aguirre's already set on his ways. Um, okay, he could probably suggest stuff, but to me, but but for me, Marquez is he's just kind of there for the ride right now. Like to me, if he started focusing on the youth, all these youth players that Pablo was talking about, if he starts doing camps already, you don't have to play like friendlies or modelos. You could just have a camp every other month, play and then play all these club teams. Play their reserves or their youth teams. But if he's already working with these youth players, and he could already have a leg up by the time he takes over the national team, and he could already have so much time with all these other players. I just think he's there in part, not just for like that transition, but sort of to placate. He was there to placate all these fans that were against Aguirre, um, because Hugo Sanchez. I saw a clip on on Spicy Soccer as well, where he was talking about he sh- how Marcus shouldn't have been the number two, and being part of that. If shit goes wrong, it's gonna taint him. And I said, well, yeah, it could do that. Definitely, it could do that as well. But if he's already working on with youth, he already has something to stand on. Especially with Olympics coming up, going to be here in LA, 2028. So I think but I think I agree with that, but at the same time, dude, they gave him a contract to 2030. That's a lot of money right there, man. Between 20-30 million dollars. So I don't care about that fucking tank. This gonna be set. Even if they fire him, he's set. That's fuck you money. Then he could go doing whatever he could go back to do whatever he wants. He wants to go coach Barca C, Barca D. He could just go fucking go do that shit and see when they give him a chance.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
But
I think like Aguirre had there's certain picks you can tell that were Aguirre's, and there's certain ones you're like, is this Rafa's doing? Because like they did call up Fidel Ambris. I didn't expect him to get called up. They called up Mozo. I didn't expect him to get called up. So Alex Padilla. I'm like, I didn't expect that one. So there's like some in there. I'm like, oh shit, okay. Like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they do against New Zealand and Canada.
Yeah, I also think it's too early to tell, but I did notice that the call up is favoring the formation of a 4-3-3, which is what Rafa has been using at Barcavi. And so, in contrast, Aguirre has been using a 5-3-2, right? And the formation doesn't point towards that. That's what I thought he would go with. So I'm not sure if that is Aguirre being convinced by Marquez that the 4-3-3 suits this pool of players better, or like the ethos of Mexico. But like I said, it remains to be seen. But I like to think that he does. And this is a trend that I see in older coaches in the game, like Sir Alex Ferguson. He was known as being more of a general manager towards the end of his career, and it was about cultivating and listening to his assistant coaches,
Yeah.
and it was like this cerebral, like team effort, that like let him have this long lasting success
Yeah.
at Man U. And this is something that other teams do, like Bielsa and other guys, right? And so this might be what Aguirre is also doing, and like giving more leash to his underlings, like especially Rafa Marquez. But only time will tell. I like to think so, though.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to this. I think Jimmy had to go, plain simple, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the World Cup now. Like, I'm being honest, like especially with all these like young players getting Liga MX minutes, we might have a completely different team 2 years from now. I mean, I think some players will still be here, but you never know. Like Hormiga, he might turn into the next Chicharo and start goals galore, and all of a sudden he'll be a player that squeezes into the 2026 World Cup that no one had on their bingo card. I think we'll have somebody come up between now and 2026. I think we're gonna have like one of those players come up. Also, I'm very happy to see that Cordova, Lainez, and Flores all made the team. Especially Cordova, he had been kind of put aside for a while. And I always feel like he's a great player to have, at least off the bench. So happy to see that all three made the list. And we'll see what it looks like on Saturday against New Zealand. I'm going to go over the Liga MX results, and then we can head into closing thoughts. We talked about a few matches already. Where did my results go? So we had Tijuana on Friday get the victory over León. That 15-year-old scoring the goal. Some great things out there. San Luis beat Atlas 2-1. Mazatlán and Puebla tied 1-1. Pachuca and Querétaro tied 1-1 as well. Monterrey lost to Toluca. And Tigres beat Pumas 3-1. We already talked about Cruz Azul beating América 4-1. Santos with that dramatic victory on Sunday over Necaxa 3-2. And, of course, Chivas the 5-0 against Juarez. Those are your results. And let's take a look at the standings. In first place after 6 matches, Cruz Azul, 16 points. Their last 5 games, they've won 4, drawn once. So they are undefeated. The only other, there's 3 teams in Liga MX that are undefeated. Tigres in second place with 14 points. Haven't had any losses. And Toluca, 4 victories, 2 draws, also with 14 points. So those are your top 3. And then Juan Carlos Osorio's Tijuana is in 4th, also tied with 14 points. Rayados in 5th. Chivas in 6th. San Luis in 7th. Atlas in 8th. So those are your top 8. Pumas in 9th. Puebla in 10th. And then you get into the second half of the table. Necaxa in 11th. América in 12th. Mazatlán in 13th. Pachuca in 14th. Santos in 15th. León in 16th. Juárez in 17th position with 1 point. And Querétaro, they have 1 point as well. So that is your 1 through 18. But we are just 1/3 of the season in. There's still a lot that will happen between now and the end of the regular season. Still plenty of positions available. The play-in system. You can be out of the playoffs right now, and you can squeeze in within the last 2 or 3 fixtures. So still early to call this one. But Cruz Azul, for sure, have been the most consistent team thus far. Where is Abdias? Falling asleep, probably. Want to give you guys the opportunity to have your closing thoughts. Want to cut this one early tonight, if that's okay. Joel, you still there? Washing dishes?
Yes, I am, sir. No, I did that earlier. Just going to continue with my Marquez rant. That's what I would do if I was Marquez. I would like to see him do something like that. I think for Mexico, there should be a goal to win the 2028 Olympics. I think they should, not just that one, but I think they should aim for it more. They've done it before. They have and then they have a bronze. So it's very doable. And I think that should be a major goal for him. I think he can achieve it. And I think he could start working it from now, and that's my rant right there, man. That way, I don't think things are going to go bad for Aguirre, just because we talked about this, Mexico being host, so many teams that they're bound to get pretty easy, at least to the point where they'll be in the second round, and that already would be a you know, it won't be as bad as getting grouped again. Um, but in the unlikely event something bad does happen, then yeah, it, it might see some fallout on Marcus.
Sounds good, Joel. Rifado, appreciate your candor tonight. What you got for us? Closing thoughts.
Hey, thanks for having me. My closing thoughts. I want to give a shout out to Johan Vasquez for completing 100 games in Serie A.
Wow.
Not an easy feat. Not a lot of Mexicans have gone to Serie A, which is, the Italian league
Yeah.
and Shrine. A lot of people have gone and flopped. So, I want to give that guy his flowers. I also wanted to touch on, let's see, who did I miss? I missed this kid named Jaime Alvarez. He didn't score. He plays for TJ. He's 21 years old. He's a fast winger. And I think this guy, like, I saw him get like 4 or 5 duels won in that game. And so I just wanted to give him a quick shout out. He did create some interesting pieces of that made his team look dangerous. Who else did I want to shout out? Mateo, 17-year-old for Cruz Azul. He's a forward. He only played like 10, 15 minutes during this last game, but Cruz Azul went ahead and subbed on a 17-year-old. And I just wanted to shout him out as well because he's great. He's a tall-looking 17-year-old kid. I expect a lot from him. I hope a lot from him. And then Cruz Azul, they got this midfielder and right wing back, Alexis Gutierrez, who's 24 years old. So not a spring chicken, but he's been mid for a long time in Liga MX. And this year, he's just looked really good as a midfielder, as a right wing back. And I know we're stacked in that position as far as the Mexican national team is concerned. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a call up for him, in the near future because he's looking great for arguably the best team in Mexico right now.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it sucks to get a 5-0 victory over the weekend and then have to put everything on pause, especially when you got America next to watch la selección. I know that it's Aguirre and Rafa, and that's exciting. But we just had such a long break from Liga MX thanks to Leagues Cup that I was just ready. I was just getting back into the swing of things. So, I guess I'll watch the game on Saturday. We'll see how it goes for Aguirre. And, we'll talk about predictions about the Super Clásico in another episode. I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody on Spotify. You can now add comments to our episodes if you guys use Spotify to listen to us. So we have Johnny Pristani, we have C. Navarrete, and Isaac Yanez Juarez, all leaving comments on our last episode on Spotify. I won't read them out. I'll have you guys check them out over there. But yeah, thank all the listeners for everyone, all the ongoing guests, all you guys. I appreciate y'all. And yeah, we're in September. It's going to be a fast fall. Pumpkin spice lattes are out, so go grab yours, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Have a good night. Sorry, YouTube.